this, and I will be assisting those of you who join us via Zoom.
Thank you, Juliet. Before we begin, we'll have two sets of instructions for you. First, for those presently in the room, please pay attention to the TV screens for a brief safety announcement.
At New Jersey Transit, your safety is our highest priority. Please listen to these safety instructions in case of an emergency. In an emergency, announcements will be made over the loudspeaker or by a uniformed police officer. The primary exit for this location is the stairwell adjacent to the elevators, which can be located by exiting the boardroom and proceeding through the glass doors. There is a second alternate staircase that can be accessed through the door at the front of this room to the right behind the board dais. New Jersey Transit Police will administer CPR and use the defibrillator located near the elevator if necessary. Fire extinguishers are located in the front and back of this room. Please be guided by the directions of the New Jersey Transit Police and staff. As a reminder, members of the public are not permitted to approach the dais and should only share board meeting materials with New Jersey Transit staff at the reception desk. Thank you and have a safe day.
Our second set of instructions is for our virtual audience connected via Zoom, courtesy of our Zoom event manager, Christian Sandino. Christian?
Good afternoon. For attendees that have joined us via Zoom, you can access the meeting controls located at the bottom of the meeting window at any time. Just move your mouse in the Zoom window to display meeting controls. Please follow along as I review your meeting controls to ensure that each of you are fully equipped to engage with our presenters this afternoon. First, let's ensure you get the most out of your Zoom session by maximizing your view and making it full screen. To do so, just double-click anywhere in your Zoom window. You can exit full screen by double-clicking again or by using the escape key on your keyboard. If you are running an older version of Zoom on a Mac OS, click Meeting followed by Enter Full Screen in the top menu bar. As a Zoom attendee, you are participating on a view-only basis. Think of yourself as just another member of the audience watching the presenters on stage. To speak and use your mic, you will need to be provided permission by myself or a meeting host. Currently, within your meeting controls, you should see an audio settings tab with the upward arrow. By clicking on the upward arrow, you can access the audio settings for this meeting and make any necessary changes and/or adjustments to your speakers only. Also within your meeting controls is the chat button. The webinar chat allows participants to send messages to one another. For the purposes of this session, the host of this session will utilize the chat to broadcast any important messages to attendees. However, the chat will not be enabled for attendees to use. Instead, we ask that you submit any questions through the Q&A feature. More on that shortly. The raise hand button, also within your meeting controls, is used by Zoom attendees to indicate that they want to speak and/or ask a question to the presenter. When an attendee raises their hand, the host and I will be notified, and assuming time permits, we will call upon them in an orderly fashion. When and if you are given permission to unmute yourself, you will receive a notification about being promoted to a panelist. Once this occurs, you will be prompted to unmute yourself and start your video. By doing so, all participants will be able to hear you and see you for the duration of your engagement. When your time is done, your role will be changed back to a view-only attendee. The Q&A button is available for attendees that want to submit any questions at any time throughout the duration of the session, but may not want to speak publicly. By clicking on the Q&A button, you will open a window that allows you to ask questions to our hosts and presenters. To ask a question, enter your question in the Q&A box, then click Send. Select Send anonymously if you do not want to attach your name to your question. If the host replies via the Q&A, you will see a reply in the Q&A window. The host can also answer your question live, out loud, and you will see a notification in the Q&A window if he or she plans to do this. Closed captioning has been enabled for this session and can be used by participants to easily follow the conversations or to meet accessibility requirements. Just click on the Show Captions button and they should appear. The provided subtitles can be clicked and dragged to move their position in the meeting window so as not to disturb. As a final note, above your meeting controls on the top left corner of your screen should be a small green shield, which contains most of the relevant information related to this meeting. This includes the meeting ID, invitation link, and more, depending on whether you access this meeting via the Zoom app or a web browser. This is just for your reference, in case you need to obtain any of that information at any time. Should you encounter any technical difficulties related to Zoom, please do not hesitate to submit a question through the Q&A feature, and either myself or someone from the team will promptly assist you. Thank you for your time and your patience, and I hope you all have an enlightening session today.
Thank you, Christian. At this moment, I welcome Mr. Ed Hoff, Director of ADA Compliance in the Office of Civil Rights and Diversity Programs, to commence today's forum.
Thank you, Sebastian. As Sebastian mentioned, my name is Ed Hoff. I'm the Director of ADA Compliance in the Office of Civil Rights and Diversity Programs here at New Jersey Transit. It's my responsibility to ensure our agency complies with the applicable state and federal laws pertaining to accessible transportation, including the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as seeking ways beyond the minimum requirements of the ADA to provide a best-in-class travel experience for our customers with disabilities. To those joining us in person or attending this event remotely, it's my pleasure to welcome you to New Jersey Transit's June 2023 Accessibility Forum. This is the third Accessibility Forum, which we first piloted in June of last year. I want to thank the team at the Office of Civil Rights and Diversity Programs, our New Jersey Transit partners that will be presenting today, and our technical support team for helping make this event possible to our virtual audience. As we mentioned in the previous accessibility forums, the choice to call this event a forum rather than a meeting was purposeful. A forum can be defined as an assembly for the discussion of public interest, and we understand and appreciate the growing interest in New Jersey Transit's accessible services and features we provide our customers. We recognize our responsibility to speak directly to the public about these aspects of our service, and we are committed to expanding the venues in which we do. This forum is an opportunity for us to continue our ongoing dialogue on this subject with you. Today, we not only get to hear your specific interests and concerns on the subject of accessibility, but we also get to share in a detailed way what we provide in terms of accessibility, how we are improving on what we provide, and those innovations we are exploring for the future. The Accessibility Forum is our way of saying in a loud and unmistakable voice to our customers with disabilities and their allies and advocates that we see and value you, your needs related to our services are important to us, and we see being responsive to those needs and exceeding your expectations as an integral part of our goals and mission. We are grateful to hear your feedback on how we are performing when it comes to serving our customers with disabilities and to share our efforts to improve our services. In addition to our work advancing accessibility in the customer experience, I want to take a moment to speak about our efforts toward promoting inclusion and accessibility in the workplace here at New Jersey Transit. As mentioned at recent board meetings and past accessibility forums, New Jersey Transit has established company employee resource groups. One such group is the New Jersey Transit Abilities Group, or NJTAG. NJTAG is open to all employees, whether or not they have a disability, and their mission is to create a safe and empathetic place where people with disabilities and their allies can openly advance inclusion. Aligned with that mission, NJTAG, in partnership with Human Resources Department, recently hosted a company-wide informational session to raise awareness on New Jersey Transit's reasonable accommodations process. The session was a great success in helping New Jersey Transit employees avail themselves of this valuable resource, enabling them to reach their full professional potential. Thank you to NJTAG and Sebastian Moreno, Director of Diversity and Inclusion, for this great contribution. Having this forum and the opportunity to engage with you in this way is a function of the visionary leadership that moves this organization forward. Our president and CEO has made inclusion and accessibility important aspects of everything we do at New Jersey Transit. And now it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome to the podium our President and CEO, Kevin Corbett, to provide opening remarks and officially kick off our forum today. Kevin?
Well, great. Thank you, Ed, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our third Accessibility Forum. I certainly want to begin tee off by thanking Ed, as our ADA compliance director, not just for his remarks, but also for his passion and his work to advance accessibility at New Jersey Transit. It really is inspirational, and I appreciate all that you do for so many riders, and will continue to do. I'd also like to thank everyone in NJ Transit's Office of Civil Rights for helping organize this important forum and for reaching out far and wide to interested stakeholders, and certainly to all our presenters today and the members of the public, both online and in person, who are taking the time to attend. It's great to have so many people participate both online and in person. Popularity of these forums are a testament to the importance and value to NJ Transit and our customers. I think the fact that this is our third public forum speaks to our commitment to accessible public transportation in New Jersey from the highest level of our organization on down. Our last accessibility forum was this past December, and since then we've introduced a number of initiatives which are aimed at enhancing system-wide accessibility with a heavy focus on our improvement to our indispensable AccessLink paratransit service. For example, this year in May, we launched our AccessLink Rider's Choice Pilot Program, which was really exciting and well received. Through this program, we are partnering with Uber and Lyft in Regions 2 and 5, including Essex, Morris, Union, Somerset, Burlington, Gloucester, and Salem counties. And that means Uber and Lyft are now available to supplement AccessLink service as needed, but only if customers opt into the program. Customers who don't opt in continue to have all their trips serviced by current AccessLink providers. So far, more than 2,800 AccessLink customers have opted in, and we have provided more than 17,000 rides through the program already. Customer feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, with many noting reduced waiting and trip times and an appreciation that there has been no change to AccessLink pricing. I would also note that while improving service and the customer experience, we anticipate this program, in fact, will also have a positive budget impact when fully implemented. You'll hear more about this innovation initiative from Chris Tucker, our Director of Customer Experience, later in the program. And building off that program's success, just this month we announced a similar initiative which looks to further expand options for AccessLink customers while improving reliability and customer experience. And NJT is now currently seeking partners with local eligible transportation organizations in a pilot program to explore the possibility of those organizations providing select AccessLink trips in accordance with the state's Paratransit Improvement Act. Under this pilot program, one eligible transportation organization from each of the 6 AccessLink regions will be selected to receive upgraded technology and training to potentially serve recurring trips currently provided by AccessLink. Beyond these pilot programs to improve the customer experience on AccessLink, this year in April, I was proud to join Nadia Hamilton, the founder and president of Magnus Mode, at a press conference right here in Newark Penn Station to launch Magnus Cards for trains. This technology significantly improves the experience of neurodiverse customers, including those who are autistic, on our rail system. We introduced Magnus Cards on our bus system last year, in May, as some of you may recall, and it's been so well received that we knew that we had to expand the program to also to our rail system. The app combines specialized instructions with real-world images to aid neurodiverse customers and anyone else who could use a little extra help navigating everyday experience on public transit. Customers can learn and find links to download the app at njtransit.com/magnusmode. While you're online, don't forget to check out our newly redesigned, streamlined, and far more user-friendly accessibility webpage available at njtransit.com/accessibility. In addition to leveraging technology to enhance system-wide accessibility, NJ Transit is focused on improving our infrastructure to do the same. For context, it's important to remember that much of our system was built in the 19th century. As a result, when NJ Transit was created about 44 years ago, we inherited a system with very few accessible stations, all of which were extremely expensive to retrofit individually. But we're not going to let that slow us down, and I think you've seen improvement in a number of our stations with providing accessibility. And, for example, Perth Amboy Station, which is now underway, is expected to be completed next year by November. The project will make our Perth Amboy Station fully ADA accessible with both platforms and elevators. throughout the system and the stations. Our Lyndhurst Station project, also under construction currently, expected to be completed by next May. We're installing the high-level platforms I mentioned, new fully ADA accessible station building, and new elevators at both ends of the station. Our 5-year capital plan also includes the installation of new elevators at our Roselle Park station to make that fully accessible in 2024. Later today, you'll be hearing from our Director of Program Management, Ed Blanco, with more details on these and other rail station accessibility projects. I think in conclusion, overall, I hope it's clear that everyone joining us today that NJ Transit is fully committed to continuing our work to maximize accessibility in as user-friendly and convenient a manner as possible. Commitment is front and center of our 10-year strategic plan, NJT 2030, where one of the 5 overarching goals is to power a stronger and fairer economy for all communities in the region. I think in closing, the forums like this are an important part of that goal, and I want to thank you all once again for coming out, allowing me to share this information with you, and also for sharing the feedback. And I think last night, interesting as an aside, we had the FTA regional administrator who was just retiring. They had a retirement function that was extremely well attended by all the major transit agencies and a lot of the staff. But and after the formal part of the speech, a batch of us were standing around and having a drink and talking about with some of the newer staff there, and 2 of them, one particularly from New Jersey, mentioned that the reason they went to the FTA is they had family who had ADA challenges. One's mother was had real problems with ADA accessibility, and that they said that was part of the inspiration for what made them want to go work for the FTA. So I would so anybody listening, whether you require ADA services or just have a passion for it. We are also, I'll make a shameless plug that we are hiring and would welcome the same kind of passion Ed has, anybody who wants to help carry the torch on this important issue. So throw that out there as an extra, Ed and Sebastian. So with that, now I'll turn the floor back over to Ed to continue with our program.
Thank you, Kevin. As we begin our forum, I want to review with you an outline of how today will go and handle a little housekeeping. As mentioned, this forum is a hybrid virtual and in-person event, with the hybrid component being carried on Zoom and YouTube. This means that we are managing in-person and remote audience for today's event. For those of you joining us in person, this forum will work largely the same way as public meetings you may have attended or seen in person recently. For those of you joining us remotely via Zoom, your virtual experience has been designed as true to life as though you were here in person. For those watching via YouTube or a recording of this session, you have also been considered. Clear instructions will be given to manage the in-person and virtual attendees. The American Sign Language interpreters on the screen will be translating the entire forum, and the forum has been organized so that public comments, presentations, and questions made virtually or in person will be shown on screen and captured for the recording. I'd like to thank our ASL interpreters as well for joining us today and helping us make this a more inclusive event. Today's forum will really take place in 2 acts. First, we will hear from you on your thoughts related to accessibility via our public comments. In the interest of time, all public comments will be limited to 2 minutes per commenter. To support our interpreters in identifying speakers, we ask all public commenters to say and spell your name at the beginning of your public comment or question. Following public comments, the second part of our program will begin, where you will hear brief presentations from several offices within New Jersey Transit on the subject of accessibility. Following all the presentations, there will be a brief question and answer period about what was shared, and that will conclude our forum. Following the forum, we will distribute a survey to get your feedback on today's event and how we can improve it for the future. Also, we'll be asking about any additional comments you have regarding accessibility. So if you don't make a comment today, know that there will still be an opportunity to provide feedback. After today's forum, an edited video of this forum will be available at njtransit.com/accessibility, along with a link to that survey. With no further delay, let's begin today's dialogue. We're glad you're here and eager to hear your thoughts. concerns and suggestions on the subject of accessibility. Sebastian, I turn it back over to you to begin our public comment session.
Thank you, Ed. We'll now start our public comment portion of the program. During this public comment session, we'll be receiving comments from attendees related to accessibility at New Jersey Transit, or any topic you wish to share with us related to our programs and services. As Ed mentioned, the public comment session is not interactive. Therefore, we will not be responding to any comments or questions made at this time. All comments will be noted for the record. Please hold your questions for the Q&A portion, which will follow our presentations. For those of you interested in making a public comment, whether in person or virtually, now will be your opportunity to do so. Please listen carefully to these instructions. We'll start the public comment portion of the forum with a special comment by Citizen Advisory Committee member, Mr. David Allen. Then we'll proceed with the public comments by those that join us in person, followed by public comments by those that join us virtually via Zoom. For those joining us in person today and would like to make a public comment, this is your last chance to be added to the list. Please get the attention of Jeanette or Cheryl, who are standing in the far right corner of the room waving their hands, and your name will be added to the public commenters list. We will call you in the order you sign up. For those of you joining us virtually via Zoom that would like to make a public comment, please click the raise hand icon on the bottom ribbon of your screen to be added to the list of commenters. You will be called in the order that you raise your hand. You can also type your comment via the Q&A button on the bottom ribbon of your screen. Please be sure to include your name and, if applicable, the organization you represent. Juliet will read all comments out loud. To begin, Mr. Allen, please approach the podium to deliver your comment on behalf of the Citizen Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Sebastian. Good afternoon. I am David Peter Allen, ALAN, Chair of the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee, SCATTERTAC. On behalf of our members, all of whom are seniors, some living with disabilities, or younger people living with disabilities, I thank Ed Hoff and the other organizers of this event for the opportunity to report to you. We have provided input that was used to select topics for today's presentation, and we also appreciate that opportunity. Our committee is concerned with a wide variety of issues about transportation for seniors and persons with disabilities. That has been the case since we were founded in 1984, and management has recently reaffirmed that authority to continue our official concern with such transit-related issues as accommodations for riders with disabilities, fixed route rail and bus services, access link paratransit, connectivity between lines and modes, and funding for transit, upon which so many of us depend for all of our mobility. We are unique at New Jersey Transit. Everyone who has decision-making authority at this agency, along with essentially every other transit agency in the nation, is a motorist. Although I know that some of you ride, and that certainly includes you, Mr. Corbett. It's always good to see you on the train. In other words, none of them need the transit they manage or govern for their day-to-day mobility. Our committee is different. Of our 17 citizen appointees, 11 depend entirely on New Jersey Transit and affiliated carriers for all mobility, and one of our members, who is a motorist, depended on transit for several years as an adult. In other words, we are in a unique position to advise you or anyone else who wants to know about mobility for seniors or persons with disabilities, because we are members of our own constituency. We are also diversified, not only along the standard parameters, but also with respect to a variety of different disabilities with which our members are living. Some of our members are blind, sight impaired to a lesser degree, hearing impaired, or living with other disabilities, including cognitive. Because of this diversity, our committee is in a better position than ever to understand what our constituents go through and the help they need. We have known Ed Hoff, who leads New Jersey Transit's accessibility efforts on a number of fronts for many years, and we commend him and his team for their efforts. Years ago, Ed told me that making transit more accessible helps all riders, not only those with disabilities. I am older now than when he first told me that, so I understand more keenly now than I did then just what he told me. We know Ed and his team for improving infrastructure accessibility, and there are other issues too. If there is no transit to take a non-motorist to a job site, that job is inaccessible to that person, no matter how well qualified they might otherwise be. If the bottom step of a train is too high for a rider to climb up to it from the platform, that train is not accessible to them. If a bus route gets discontinued or a rail line does not run at certain hours, then all of the places along that particular route during those hours are not accessible to a non-motorist who could otherwise get to those places. I have never addressed a group of persons who are living with disabilities when I did not hear a litany of complaints about Access Link. It has become so bad that the U.S. Department of Justice has become involved in an effort to improve Access Link to service to persons who need it. I offer our committee's efforts to help resolve this situation in a manner that will end up improving mobility for Access Link's customers. The persons whose disabilities prevent them from using the bus and rail services that many of us whose disabilities are less severe use regularly. We also express our deep concern about the long-term financial future of New Jersey Transit. The funding from the COVID relief legislation that has kept the operating side of many transit providers throughout the nation going for the past 3 years will run out before long. The latest projections call for it to happen here in about 2 years, and it's already beginning to happen elsewhere. This is a crisis that appears almost certain to have extremely severe repercussions for almost everybody who depends on transit for all of their mobility. That includes New Jersey Transit's riders who are not motorists. We call on New Jersey Transit to prepare now for the coming disaster by working toward getting stable, secure, and sufficient funding, especially for its operating needs. That includes Access Link. We also call on Access Link and county and other transportation providers to do everything they can to provide the level of access that gets all of their riders to the places they want to go in a timely manner, regardless of the purpose of their trip. We want to know how we can help you. We consider ourselves uniquely qualified to help improve mobility for the seniors and persons with disabilities who ride New Jersey Transit and its affiliated carriers, including Access Link and the county-provided service it supports. We invite you to let us know what you need. And I join with everyone else here in looking forward to the program today and for the opportunity to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Now we'll begin our in-person public comments. All comments from the public will be limited to 2 minutes. We'll be using a timer, and you'll be alerted when your time begins, when you have 30 seconds remaining, and when your time has ended. When you begin, please introduce yourself with your name and, if applicable, on behalf of if you're here on behalf of an organization, please name the organization. Please provide your organization. Please be sure to spell your name and your organization's name so it can be used by our sign language interpreters when you speak. A reminder that no questions will be answered during this period. Our first speaker will be Grace Rowe. If you can please approach the podium.
Okay, I'm ready. Grace, Grace, Rowe, Rhoe. I work here in New Jersey Transit at a local program under Janelle. I'm just here to observe for today. I don't have any comments, questions.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments for those that are here in person?
Come to the podium.
If you can please state your name and the organization you're here on behalf and spell both, please.
Philip Harrison, Philip, Harrison, Harrison. I'm a resident of Atlantic County. I'm a member of the Scattertap Citizens Advisory Committee. I'm here today. I want to advocate on behalf of the disabled residents of Ocean County who are unable to go to dialysis. As we all know, the authorities at Ocean County will not allow Ocean Ride to take any of the disabled residents who go to dialysis, although they may be eligible as seniors or disabled. Most are, of course, disabled. I note that most New Jersey Scattertap transportation paratransit systems, along with Access Link, go as far as they can, strain their efforts to try to get these patients to dialysis because it is life-saving. It is extremely important, as we know. In Atlantic County, our director of Atlantic Transportation, Maribel Pabon, goes out of her way to try to make sure that those residents of Atlantic County that need to go to dialysis are able to go. Yesterday, we had a report from 4 different Scattertap systems, all of which went to dialysis, yet Ocean County refuses to take these most vulnerable of its citizens to a dialysis. A number of members of our Citizens Advisory Committee went to Ocean County with a representative of New Jersey Transit, with the cooperation of Ocean Ride staff, in an attempt to develop a volunteer program to resolve this issue of dialysis patients unable to be taken to dialysis. We found, however, unfortunately, a large number of volunteers were required. The volumes were so high that that program was not feasible. I believe that this policy of Ocean County not to allow Ocean Ride to take their disabled citizens to dialysis is totally unjustified. I will ask questions later, asking your opinions and asking you to take steps to correct this. Thank you for this opportunity to address this forum.
Thank you. I have a name, Peter Dow. Not sure if you wanted to make a comment. Okay. This concludes our list of in-person public comments. Now we'll start calling on our virtual public commenters via Zoom. For those commenting virtually, when I call your name, Christian will enable your microphone and camera. You will now be able to, you will then be able to unmute your microphone and turn on your camera only if you wish to do so. At the end of your 2 minutes, your microphone and camera will be disabled. When you begin, please introduce yourself with your name and if you're here on behalf of an organization, please provide your organization's name. Be sure to spell your name and the organization so it can be used by our sign language interpreters. If you prefer to have your comment read out loud, please indicate that and enter your name and the organization's name, if applicable, in the chat by clicking on the Q&A button. Juliet will read your comment up to the 2-minute mark. We will be using a timer and you'll be alerted when your time begins, when you have 30 seconds remaining, and when your time has ended. A final reminder that no questions will be answered during this period. Christian, do we have any virtual public comments?
Yes, we do. The first person we have is Adam. Adam, you have been given access to your microphone. Please go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Good afternoon. Adam Reich, A-D-A-M-R-E-I-H. First of all, I would ask New Jersey Transit, with social media posts, please use alt text. In particular, with Access Link, you have a tendency to post infographics with tips for riders, but these graphics do not use alt text and therefore are not accessible to those with screen riders. The tool would greatly boost accessibility for those who use screen readers and give them the information that would undoubtedly be useful to many. Second, again, stress to representatives of this group that you have a segment of people who cannot ride the system under the current state. Immunocompromised and high-risk ride. I had previously suggested the idea of a masked car on trains that had that capacity. I still believe it's something you ought to consider, particularly for those trains that regularly run with one or more closed cars. We've never had a dialogue or a forum topic that seems to address immunocompromised riders. I would be happy to help you gather a group of people who would attend such a forum. Closing off cars is an accessibility issue. It often means you are reducing an available bathroom, increasing the walk if you have a bathroom available, too many on board. There's also a callousness to it. If you said that you do not have the capacity to try out a mass car and things that have capacity, but then you allow crews to close off a car and occupy it, you are basically saying that we would rather give crews a great car than try something for those with underlying conditions. Lowering density, even if you do not have a designated mass car, would still help to reduce the risk level for those who are high risk or immunocompromised. I again would ask the agency and the representatives of this group to please offer a meaningful dialogue. Let's figure out a solution, whether it is a limited scale pilot program, whether it is opening additional cars, something. Please show that you care about this group of disabled and high-risk individuals who often feel neglected and ignored. Please, again, let's work on facilitating some sort of public dialogue, some sort of consideration. If we try it and it's not working out, there's nothing that says you cannot simply scrap the program. I am still at a loss why a group that counts its priority for accessibility and inclusivity has never sought to discuss this issue with riders or an advisory group, to the best of my knowledge.
Thank you, Mr. Adam. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adam. A reminder that the public comment time is 2 minutes. Christian, do we have another speaker, virtual speaker?
Yes, Arlene is raising her hand. Arlene, you have the option to be promoted to panelists to come out on camera. Okay, Arlene, go ahead and unmute now.
Your time begins now.
Okay. All right, I thought I had my comments here, it disappeared. My name is Arlene Romoff, A-R-L-E-N-E, and R-O-M-O-F-F. I am deaf and I have cochlear implants. I am the past president of the Hearing Loss Association of America, the New Jersey State Association. There were two issues with New Jersey Transit for people with hearing loss. The cars that we travel in announce the stops audibly if you can hear, but for people with hearing loss, they can't understand what stops are being announced. Many, many trains in this country have digital signs that are mounted on the ceiling to allow people with hearing loss to understand what stops they are at, but the New Jersey Transit trains do not all have that. So it's a hit and miss operation with many times people getting off at the wrong stop or not in time. Again, also, because there aren't enough signs on the stations themselves that would indicate where you are, and even those signs are not adequately lit. The problem exists that people with hearing loss have no idea where they are, and this problem has been going on for many years and has been alerted to
You have 30
people in
seconds.
charge. So that is what I have to say on this subject, and we hope that it will be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene. Christian?
The next attendee is Sally. Sally, you have the option to be promoted to a panelist. Go ahead and accept if you would like. Otherwise, let us know. Okay. Sally, you can go ahead and unmute now.
Hey, yeah, I'm back. That was bizarre. So yeah, and where are my notes? Okay. So I
If you
am
can-
Sally Jane Gellert. I am the chairperson of the Lackawanna Coalition. I am a member of ScatterTAC, co-chair there, first vice chair there, that is. My remarks today were compiled from a Lackawanna Coalition member comments and my own observations. They are not official. The Access Link Rider's Choice, one of our members relayed to us something from her network, quote, "What I really want to know is when the Rider's Choice pilot program is going to start in my region. The lack of drivers has made the shared ride situation completely out of control. I avoid taking Access Link whenever possible now because of this. Region 1 or 2, it's Atlantic and Ocean counties," unquote. One of our members also forwarded to us a photo of a broken sidewalk right where the doors had opened for boarding the train. This is dangerous for all, but especially those with mobility issues. Last night, on my way home from our meeting in Millburn, I just about made it to the platform for the 9:23 train. The Millburn platform, which I had not noticed previously, is not level. The closer one is to the outbound end, the further the bottom step on the train is from the platform. Normally, boarding near the station building and the ticket machines, it's a stretch but not too uncomfortable. Last night, down by the stairs at the far end of the platform, I almost didn't make it. I appreciate the conductor's courtesy in holding my bag as I pulled myself up, first getting a knee onto the bottom step.
You
with
have
both
30
feet.
seconds.
I had looked for a lightweight step unit with a handle to carry when taking public transportation. Just
Sally, can you hear us?
I got muted. When did I get muted? I was,
Sally?
Do I have, what's
Sally,
happening?
I'm resetting the clock for 30 seconds for you to finish your remarks.
Okay, I recently did a wave evaluation on the website. Most pages have few actual errors. One notable exception is the Open Request page, where there apparently has been no attempt at all at accessibility. From the light blue text to zero headings or regions for ARAI and screen reader use. A blind friend wanted to make an open request. We were both on the phone as he tried to use a screen reader. We rapidly realized it was hopeless, so I finally read the form to him and typed in the answers he provided. Not acceptable. I echo Adam Reich's comments and Arlene's comments. We have supported the effort on mask optional cars. You always need alt text. I mean, I as an amateur WordPress person.
Sally,
use alt
your
text.
time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our last attendee is Don Monaco. Don, you're being asked to join us as a panelist. You can go ahead and accept at any time. Okay, you can go ahead and unmute now.
Hi, yes, thank you very much. My name is Dawn Monaco, DAWN-MONACO. I am with Span Parent Advocacy Network. My comment is for those young adults and adults with disabilities who do not live in an area where Access Link is available to them. Transportation then becomes a barrier for employment. Specifically, we had learned about your Rider's Choice, which I think is wonderful. So we actually made it, put it in our newsletter so that families were aware of that. Personally, for myself, I have a young adult who's 24 who works and is using his DDD budget for transportation, which is eating his budget up. So I contacted Access Link and was told that I live in an area where it is not accessible for him. It's not in our area. I'm in Bergen County. So they told me to call Bergen Transport. I called Bergen Transport, which he would be eligible for, but they only run from 10:30 to 2 o'clock, which is not the hours of when he works. So I was at your forum probably 6 years ago and discussing this same topic of these young people with disabilities and adults with disabilities who do not have availability to Access Link While
have
Uber
30
and
seconds.
Lyft are wonderful options, they're very expensive. And again, transportation is a barrier for employment for these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Christian, can you please confirm that is the last virtual speaker?
Confirming that is the last virtual speaker, Sebastian.
Thank you. Thank you for all of your comments. That concludes our public comment portion of the program. We will now begin our presentations. We have brief presentations on accessibility covering several areas within NJ Transit. In the interest of time, we're going to go through all presentations, then have a Q&A session at the end before we close. We ask that if you have a question about a specific area, you hold that question or enter it into the chat, identifying the presentation area, along with your name and organization if applicable. We will address all questions asked before we complete today's forum. We will have presentations on the following topics: the repairing of railcar windows to increase visibility, train station accessibility, an update on Magnus Mode, initiatives on autism awareness, and the Rider's Choice Program pilot. Our first presentation is by Rail Operations.
Thank you, Sebastian. My name is Fred Chittister. I am the Deputy General Manager of Equipment for New Jersey Transit Rail Operations. I'm in charge of the mechanical department and everything relating to the train cars, locomotives, and vehicles, the yards that maintain them, and the shops that maintain them. We're basically here to discuss are the train windows for the rail cars, which have been brought up subject of a process that was originally believed by most to be because of being dirty. What it actually is a process in the polycarbonate world when a covering of the window gets deteriorated due to pH factors, acid rain, grit, that gets blown against the side of the cars in its normal travel and age. So the rail cars are made from this polycarbonate, which has this coating that goes over it, and it's made to withstand impacts. So something hitting the side of a train, material, debris. The reduced visibility is primarily due to this process that's called crazing, and it restricts the visibility. So us here at Jersey Transit have been working with Rutgers Center for Advanced Infrastructure and Transportation and a few options that we've been researching. We gave Rutgers a crazed set of windows, and we gave them a new window, and they basically explored all the chemical basis on those windows and how to do any kind of a process that we can clean the windows. In a single multi-level vehicle, there are 32 windows per car, and we have 429 cars, which basically works out to approximately 13,728 windows. Over the course of lifetime, there is a cyclical process to replacing windows, and it's only as they deteriorate. But because of the processes of the weather and the chemicals on them, it advances these. Rutgers has recently given us a few processes to try, and they are currently underneath testing over at the Meadows Maintenance Complex in Kearney. We've had a lot of good results, and we're trying to put it into play at the same time of entering into a cyclical window replacement for each one of the vehicles. Our time frame for repair is we're working from both ends. We're getting new windows that we are putting into some of the cars that are identified as the worst, and then as soon as we finish this process, which we hope to have done within the next 2 weeks, of having a manual, basically it's applying a solution, a cleaning, and basically a wax to a window. And it improves the visibility. And then to maintain that process. So through everything that we've seen, railroads have gone on cyclical window replacement process, and as we know, it's very time consuming. It takes approximately 2 individuals per window. They have quite a weight to them, and they're also need to be replaced and whole, not only the window, but the rubber material around it and the emergency gaskets on that, which also come to a significant cost. So we're trying to work both ends and have improvement in the visibility, and also at the same time put in a cyclical program maintenance of this process. We are also looking at some of our older cars, and we also have some new multi-level 3s that are coming on that we're going to make sure that we have all the processes in place as we continue. And eventually we'll work through our fleet of cars to the point where we see a drastic improvement. And that's it.
Thank you, Fred. The next presentation is by Capital Programs.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eduardo Blanco. I'm a Director of Project Management at Capital Programs. Today I'll be speaking to you on 3 construction projects, station projects, which our CEO has touched base on. I've been at New Jersey Transit here for some 26 years, involved in numerous construction and design projects from beginning to end, and I'll capitalize today on 3 of the key ones that we're speaking to today. In front of you today is Elizabeth Train Station. It's located in the city of Elizabeth, adjacent to Amtrak's Northeast Corridor. And it's served by New Jersey Transit's Northeast Corridor and North Jersey Coastline commuter train lines. It has approximately 6,850 average weekly passenger trips pre-COVID. The original historic station is currently located at the street level and has been converted into a restaurant. As some years and time have passed, the NEC was the main line for many towns and cities. In roughly 1987, New Jersey Transit constructed an inbound and outbound station buildings, which had small high-level platforms, some walkways, 2 elevators, and new stairways. The station is depicted here in the slide, as you see. Since 1987, the city of Elizabeth and the station ridership has grown. So upgrades and additional platform capacity, as well as safety, was needed. In 2018, New Jersey Transit went through a significant approval process to select highly qualified design-build contractor for this project. This design-build contract was the first of its kind on the Northeast Corridor for New Jersey Transit. The construction of this project would phase out the old 1987 station and construct a new state-of-the-art station. This new station will be designed in a 19th century early architectural design. It will also have an inbound and outbound station buildings with longer platforms to accommodate more capacity. The platforms will be over 1,000 linear feet per side. Both of the station buildings will have a new public address system, CCT camera system, 4 new elevators, and some ramps. The programming amount that New Jersey Transit has set aside for this project is $74,855,000. This slide here in front of you indicates a final rendering of the outbound station. building with a vendor space and an elevator. Just behind in the aerial photo, you'll see the newly completed elevator and extended new platform, which is currently open to the public, which you'll see on the next slide. In front of the station plaza, the final art piece will go in to invite our customers and area into a beautiful plaza area. As I indicated in the previous slide, on the left of you, you'll see, as indicated, a completed elevator, extended new platform, which is currently open to the public. In this elevator, you can see artwork to the glass, which has a beautiful touch to the station. The artwork is also displayed on the other new 4 elevators. On the right side, you'll see what seems to be its final completion to our inbound station building, which is expected to open in the next several months. This station, as all stations, will be phased in construction, and as items become available to go online, we open them up to the public. This new station building, as you see in front of you, will have a new ticket office, restrooms, some vendor space, offices for our stations people. You will be able to go from one side to the other via the other station building via the existing tunnel, which has been restored. And in this tunnel, we will also have artwork, which is displayed on walls, inviting our customers to a comfortable and secure space from the inbound and outbound. In this final slide, it shows you an aerial rendering of the final product and how it will appear overall. Majority of the station will be open by the end of the year, as I indicated, and lastly, the last finished stage will be open the first quarter of 2024. The next station I'll be speaking on is Perth Amboy Station. Perth Amboy Station was originally constructed in 1927. It's a historic station and serves the middle part of Perth Amboy District. It's located between Smith and Market Streets. As you can see from these photos above, there's a transition of historic changes. The station is not accessible, and it has low-level platforms. This new project that we are doing will make the station accessible through construction of high-level platforms and several other accessibility features. On January 2022, New Jersey Transit issued a notice to proceed to a contract to construct this project. This project has an inbound and outbound station building with, as Elizabeth does, over 1,000 feet of high-level new boardable platforms. This will also have amenities such as public address system, CCTV security system, 4 new elevators, and ramps for accessibility. This plan also includes the upgrade to men's and women's restrooms in the eastbound station building to provide for accessibility. New Jersey Transit has put aside a capital program amount for $62,840,000 for this particular project. In this slide, you can see a site section of the high-level platforms and the 2 new elevators adjacent to the pedestrian bridge. The pedestrian bridge and the existing station buildings are historic. The elevators will connect to the main lobbies and the street level and the pedestrian bridge and the new high-level platforms, making it all accessible. In this last slide for Perth Amboy, you'll see an overall project from Smith Street side, which is the main street that serves a very active business district area. You can see an existing vendor stand to the left where the main parking area is. Directly adjacent to the parking lot, the vendor is one of the new elevators and new stairs that lead to Smith Street. On the opposite side of Smith Street, you'll see the outbound elevator and stair, which leads to the sidewalk there. This project is scheduled to be completed sometime first quarter 2025, but as I indicated earlier, certain phases may open earlier than that. Lastly, I'll be speaking on Lyndhurst Station. This station sits in the town of Lyndhurst. There is currently an existing station on the opposite side, which is located on Stuyvesant Avenue and Court Ave. This station currently serves an average of approximately 1,000 weekly passenger trips. Lyndhurst is just 2 stops away from New York Penn Station and about 2.5 miles from the new American Dream Complex and MetLife Stadium. The existing current station was built and constructed in 1913 and is in a state of disrepair and unusable. The station is depicted here in the slide in front of you. In December of 2020, New Jersey Transit awarded a construction contract to build a new station at Lyndhurst. This project's purpose would be located on the opposite side of Delafield Ave and Court Ave, which is just steps away from our station commuter parking lot. The station building has been designed to replicate the historic style of the existing station. It will include two 460 high-level platforms, linear feet of platforms, new stairs, and 4 elevators with lighting, canopies, communications, and as well closed-circuit TV. In this last slide, we show the final rendering of what the new station will look like. As you can see, both the inbound and outbound station buildings show the platform, its canopies, and its 4 elevators. The project is scheduled to be completed first quarter of 2025, but certain parts may open prior to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. The next presentation is by Marketing, Communications, and Customer Experience.
Good afternoon. My name is Vaughn Williams. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer and Vice President of Communications and Customer Experience at NJ Transit. It's my pleasure today to present about our efforts to make NJ Transit even more welcoming to autistic and neurodiverse customers, including our Autism Acceptance Month activities and expansion of our Magnus Cards app content. Be forewarned, I may also have a few bonus marketing topics at the end. In April of this year, NJ Transit was pleased to support Autism Acceptance Month through a series of activities across the system. We partnered with Happy Hour for Kids to give autistic and neurodiverse children the opportunity to record announcements that were played in stations across the NJ Transit system. I'll share a behind-the-scenes peek at that shortly. We also wrapped 2 buses in supporting graphics and messaging, which operated across the state throughout the month. And finally, we held a press conference at Newark Penn Station to announce this, as well as our new Magnus Mode content. That news was picked up broadly across the region and even made it into a longer segment on a Saturday national broadcast of Good Morning America. Once the forum presentation is published on njtransit.com, you'll be able to click on all of the links, including this link to the GMA segment. Here's a picture from that press event featuring one of the wrapped buses along with CEO Corbett, flanked by many of the participating children from the program, as well as our SVP of Rail Operations, Jim Sincaglia, and other NJ Transit colleagues. Now I'll share a brief behind-the-scenes clip of some of the children making the recordings that were played across the system.
Hello, New Jersey. I'm Isaiah, and New Jersey Transit has asked me to share an important message with you. Never go onto the tracks, even if you've dropped something important. We can always help you get it back. Just tell a police officer, be safe, everybody, and happy Autism Acceptance Month.
Hey everyone, my name is Alonso and I love trains so much that New Jersey Transit let me make an announcement as part of Autism Acceptance Month. Remember to let people leave the train before you get on. Help us keep the trains moving.
Hi, this is Kair. I'm 11 years old. Thank you, New Jersey Transit, for letting me take an announcement as part of Autism Acceptance Month. New Jersey Transit works hard to keep our stations and tracks clean. You can help too. Please take trash with you and use the garbage cans on the platform. Thank you for riding New Jersey Transit.
Attention passengers, this is Helen Horn and I love to ride the NJ Transit trains. I'd like to invite you to join me in NJ Transit as we celebrate Autism Acceptance Month. Watch your belongings and have a good day.
Hi everyone, my name is Henry and I love riding New Jersey Transit with my family so much that they are letting me make an announcement as part of Autism Acceptance Month. Stay connected by following New Jersey Transit on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube for the latest up-to-date information and special promotions. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to talk about our partnership with Magnus Mode. Magnus Mode is the maker of Magnus Cards, a mobile app that provides guides to help autistic and neurodiverse customers with everyday activities, including riding public transit. At the last Accessibility Forum, I was here to present about the 5 Magnus Card decks, or guides, which help guide customers through their journey on NJ Transit buses. Today, I'm here to talk about how we've expanded our content with another 5 decks to now also help guide customers through their journey on NJ Transit trains. And not to give away too much too soon, but I'll probably be back at the next Accessibility Forum to talk about our expansion to light rail, which we've just started to work on. The Magnus Card decks, as you can see here illustrated on the left side of the slide, provide visual, audio, and text-based information and guidance to help autistic and neurodiverse customers plan their trip, buy a ticket, board and ride their bus or train, enjoy a safe ride, and ride their vehicle with a mobility device. Additional information about fares, trip planning, and navigating njtransit.com is also woven throughout all of the content. And you may here in the slide also recognize our modeling talent, Henry, there in the bottom corner, who you also just saw who had recorded a station announcement for us. Magnus Cards is completely free and available on Apple iOS devices and Android devices. We also have more information and an introductory video on njtransit.com/MagnusMode. I encourage you to download the app and take a look at all the great information in the app, not only just for NJ Transit, but for other public transit agencies and for everyday activities. I mentioned some bonus marketing material, and here's some. I just wanted to highlight 3 relatively new train destination boards that NJ Transit has installed in Penn Station, New York, Hoboken Terminal, and Secaucus Junction Station. You can see all 3 in photos here on the slide. Now, these boards allow customers to quickly and easily find their final destination and when the next 2 trains will depart to take them there. The boards feature large font, color cues, and the latest service information to make traveling the system as easy as possible. Finally, I wouldn't be doing my job as a marketer if I didn't highlight the great promotions that we're currently offering to encourage travel and ridership this summer. On njtransit.com/summer or njtransit.com/shore, as you see on the screen, you'll find great discounts for travel to New York City, Philadelphia, Atlantic City, Six Flags, Great Adventure, the Jersey Shore, and much more. We want to make sure that New Jersey Transit is as affordable, attractive, and accessible as possible so that New Jerseyans and visitors alike can have a world-class experience when they're traveling in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vaughn. Our final presentation is by Access Link.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to outline some of Access Link's innovative approaches to some of our concerns. I am the Director of Customer Experience for Access Link. My name is Chris Tucker. First, a brief history of Access Link. The service was started in 1993 to provide a reliable transportation option for customers with disabilities. Over the years, the team has explored and presented options for staying focused on our goal of helping people with disabilities overcome transportation-related barriers in the areas where Access Link is available. Our most recent option for helping to improve the customer experience is Access Link's Riders' Choice Program pilot. Let me explain how this pilot was developed and how it works. The Riders' Choice Program pilot evolved from research on options for addressing our on-time performance and driver availability concerns. Access Link and our service provider partner, Easton Coach, met with industry peers to explore best practices and available transportation network companies with the bandwidth to assist Access Link with addressing both concerns. After much planning and testing, our pilot program was started on May 10th and is currently available in Burlington, Camden, Essex, Gloucester,
Morris, Somerset, Union, and Salem counties. AccessLink customers have been provided with information about the program and opportunities to opt in. By opting in, customers agree to have their AccessLink reservations considered for handling by our current TNC partners, which are Uber and Lyft. If the customer is given permission for their ride to be considered for the Rider's Choice Program pilot, 3 things will happen. First, their reservation is reviewed to determine if it can be handled on time. Number 2, it is moved from an AccessLink vehicle to either Uber or Lyft if we think that that might be the best option. And finally, the customer is sent a text message identifying whether Uber or Lyft will be handling the ride. As mentioned, all of the additional reviewing and evaluating of a ride request requires that the customer opt in. The opting in process is offered online, and assistance is available by phone if needed. After opting in, each customer is given the opportunity to select which TNC they want to have considered for each and every ride reservation. So let's explore the reservation process for customers who have opted in. It must be noted that while customers cannot make AccessLink reservations directly with Uber or Lyft, they do have 4 reservation options: the AccessLink mobile app, AccessLink online, our digital reservation forms, and they can receive assistance over the phone with a live agent. Now, if an AccessLink reservation will be handled by Uber or Lyft, this information is communicated via text message. So customers who opt in are informed that they must have a cell phone that is capable of receiving text messages. These text messages provide all of the necessary information to help the Uber or Lyft driver, and the AccessLink customer to connect. This information includes the driver's name, a description of the vehicle, and the estimated arrival time. To help increase the pilot program's success, we highlight 4 major differences between an AccessLink ride and a TNC ride. TNC rides are handled in personal vehicles. The professional TNC driver will not announce AccessLink, exit their car, or help customers with a seatbelt. Customers are encouraged to establish Easy Wallet accounts because TNC drivers at this time do not accept cash. And a cell phone, but not necessarily a smartphone, is required to receive information from the TNC partner who will be handling the ride. So how do customers opt out? Customers who try the Rider's Choice Program pilot and determine that it is not the most appropriate transportation option for them can complete an opt-out form either electronically or via phone. Now, after opting out, all AccessLink reservations will be handled by an AccessLink driver in an AccessLink vehicle. Since the pilot started on May 10th, thousands of AccessLink customers have opted to have Uber or Lyft considered for handling their AccessLink reservations. And to date, over 17,000 AccessLink rides have been handled under the Rider's Choice Program pilot, and we look forward to exploring options for expanding the program statewide. In closing, we encourage our customers and their families and their caregivers to communicate with us frequently. We learn much from the experiences and observations of those who use AccessLink to travel. And when our customer satisfaction survey is available, a link will be provided on AccessLink Online. And daily communications can be sent by the feedback section of AccessLink Online or the mobile app, or via email to adaservice@newjerseytransit.com. Thank you for your time and your attention today.
Thank you, Chris. That completes today's presentations. We will now start our Q&A session. For those of you who want to ask a question, whether in person or virtually, now will be your opportunity to do so. We ask that during this session you ask questions based on the presentations you received today. For purposes of clarity, please direct your question to a specific presenter. Any questions asked beyond the scope of these presentations today will be recorded and may be addressed as a follow-up to this forum. For those attending in person today, if you wish to ask a question, please form a line behind the podium directly across from me. For those of you joining us virtually via Zoom, if you wish to ask a question, please click the raise hand icon on the bottom ribbon of your screen to indicate that you would like to be added to the Q&A list. You will be called in the order that you raised your hand. You can also enter your question in the Q&A chat along with your name and, if applicable, your organization's name to be read out loud by Juliet. We will start the Q&A portion with those present in the room. Please be sure to say and spell your name before asking your question so it can be used by our sign language interpreter when you speak. Our first question may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Aronson, Paularonsohn. I'm New Jersey's ombudsman for individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities and their families. Just want to thank you for the forum. I just had a very specific question for Ms. Tucker. I think it's a great program, great pilot program. Are the Uber and Lyft partners, are they wheelchair accessible with automobiles?
At this point, the pilot program doesn't specifically carve out that there are wheelchair accessible vehicles available. Our next step of the pilot, which would include services through VIA and USERV, will have vehicles that are wheelchair accessible.
Great, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next in-person question may begin.
Hello, Philip Harrison, Philip-Harrison. Just wanted to follow up on what I spoke about earlier, and I wanted to ask New Jersey Transit personnel if New Jersey Transit will take any steps to correct a situation in Ocean County that refuses to take its disabled to dialysis facilities. I gather you will not answer that at this time. If you will, of course, I'd be glad to hear it, but I do hope that you will respond to that question at some point in the near future. Thank you.
This is Ed Hoff. Thank you for the question, Phil. Yes, we'll respond to you, obviously. During this Q&A session, where it's Q&A specifically about the presentations that were made that we shared, and so we'll limit to that, but thank you for the question, and we'll be happy to respond to you later. Thanks, Phil.
Our next question is by Mr. Allen.
Yes, David Peter Allen, ALAN, ScatterTAC Chair. We are very interested in the Rider's Choice Program at Access Link, and Chris, we would like to hear more about it. I've been talking with Nemeka and with Janelle about scheduling something, but one question I have been asked by several people that I'm going to ask you. We have heard at the moment that there are no fares being charged during the pilot program, and we know that fares on Uber and Lyft are a lot more expensive than fares on Access Link, which are tied to base fares on NJ Transit fixed route services. What are the fares going to be like when the Rider's Choice Program starts to charge fares?
The fares for customers who are participating in the Rider's Choice Program, once we finish our pilot session, will be no more than what they're currently paying for their Access Link fare.
Great, thank you.
Do we have any other in-person questions? It appears that we don't have any more. This concludes our in-person Q&A participants. Now we'll move on to our virtual Q&A participants via Zoom. Please remember to ask questions based on the presentations you received today. For purposes of clarity, please direct your question to a specific presenter. Any questions asked beyond the scope of these presentations today will be recorded and may be addressed as a follow-up to this forum. Be sure to say and spell your name and, if applicable, your organization's name before asking your question so that it can be used by a sign language interpreter when you speak. Do we have any virtual questions?
Yes, we have Sally. Sally, I just gave you access to your microphone. You can go ahead and unmute now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Regarding the Lyndhurst situation, my understanding is that that site is quite close to the Lyndhurst station, but is at quite a distance from the Kingsland station. We at the Lackawanna Coalition discussed this last night, and we'll be making a resolution on our support for the renovation and repair of the Kingsland station. It is in a downtown area close to buses, which the new station, as I understand, is not. What consideration has been given to Kingsland? And, I know that, it needs elevators or something, but its location is important. So I'd like to hear some comments on that, Chair.
Thank you for your question. Unfortunately, I can only speak on the presentation today, which is the new Lyndhurst station. Unfamiliar about what's going on with Kingsland and the future of that station. We can certainly see what we can get back to you, but unfortunately, I can't answer anything on that specific station.
Okay, our next question comes from Jacob Hackett. Jacob, I've just given you access to your microphone. You can go ahead and unmute now.
Hi, yes, I have two questions for Chris in relation to Access Link. Chris, my first question is, when do you think the pilot program will be expanded to Atlantic County? And my second question is, the Access Link app has not worked correctly in about a few months. I regularly use it. It says to connect and reconnect your Wi-Fi. I have to book the trips via the website or call them online. And one of the things it said was that in its improvements was that Access Link wait times were going to be improved. For example, today I was on hold for 20 minutes.
Thank you for your questions. In reference to your first question, in reference to the expansion of the Access Link Riders' Choice Program, while we are still in the pilot stage, I don't have any information about when we would be expanded to the specific area that you mentioned, which is to Atlantic County. But when that does take place, we will have a robust communication program to make sure that customers are aware of when the program is being expanded to the rest of the state. And with your second question in reference to the concerns that you're experiencing with the Access Link, with the Access Link online or your mobile app, I don't have any information to answer that, but if you send your concern in through ADA services at NewJerseyTransit.com, I can have the technical team work with you to try to figure that out.
Okay. Our next question comes from Don. Don, I'm going to go ahead and promote you to a panelist. Go ahead and unmute yourself when you can.
Hi, yes, thank you. Dawn Monaco, DAWN-MONACO. I just want to once again say I listened to your presentation. It's great. I think this is a wonderful opportunity as an alternative to Access Link. I want to make sure I understood what you mentioned. So is it going to be available in areas of counties that don't have Access Link? Are you going to be opening up to those areas?
Dawn, thank you for your question. In reference to the Access Link service area, I have no information about the service area being expanded. So with the Access Link Riders' Choice Program, once it's out of the pilot stage, it will be available in the same areas and during the same times that the Access Link service is available.
Okay, all right, thank you. And so that still raises the question, which I understand you can't answer, but I can't not say it, that for those of us, and in fact, right after I spoke before, I got an email from a parent in Mawa, so it's the same issue. It's in Bergen County. They do not have any form of transportation there from New Jersey Transit, as you know, I do not as well in the area that I'm in Bergen County. And so what are our young adults and adults with disabilities to do with regard to transportation? I know you can't answer it. I just pose that question to everyone. And I'm happy to put my email in the chat or the Q&A, wherever it's appropriate, because I would like to have a conversation with someone about what our options are, because as an employment first state, our young adults, we want them working. And how do they get to work? So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Okay, there are no more raised hands at this time.
Thank you, Christian. And Don, please put your information in the chat as you indicated. It appears to be that we don't have any questions posted on the chat as well. So this would conclude our in-person Q&A participants and our virtual Q&A participants. Thank you all for your questions. This concludes the Q&A portion of the meeting and our program for today. I thank you all for your participation and engagement throughout today's program. I will now turn the meeting over to Mr. Ed Hoff for closing remarks.
Thank you again, Sebastian. That concludes today's forum, but not this conversation. As I mentioned at the start, this forum is the beginning of a deeper dialogue on the subject of accessibility. By the end of the day tomorrow, we will distribute a survey to get your feedback on today's event and how we can improve it for the future. Please make sure we have your email address if you've been chatting with us, so that you can participate in the survey. And also, we'll be asking about any additional comments you have regarding accessibility. So if you don't make a comment today, you will have that opportunity via the survey. Within the next day or so, an edited video of this forum will be available at newjerseytransit.com/accessibility, along with a link to that same survey. So thank you for joining us today for today's forum, and have a great evening. Thank you.